This week on the Real Housewives of Orange County.
You are so special. You are so sick.
No, I'm honest.
How's your therapy?
You came to my...
I didn't come to your gym. I didn't know about you.
Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back. So now we're going to be recapping the new episode of the Real Housewives of Orange County, Season 19, Episode 4. Let's get right into it. This was a really good episode. So we pick up at Heather's party. Katie was apologizing or trying to apologize to Shannon, but Shannon lost her mind. She went off. She had one of her typical Shannon storms Beador wacko meltdowns. So Katie tells Jenn and Gretchen that she's leaving. This is a waste of time, a waste of a good dress, a waste of a look, which, I mean, Katie did look better than anyone else there. So, at least she came and she served the looks. But before she leaves, Heather also approaches her and she tells her what happened, and Katie says, I'm leaving. She didn't want to listen to me, so Heather says, let's talk more about this on another time. So Katie leaves. She tells Matt as they're leaving that Shannon just said that I'm more evil than Alexis and Tamra combined, which really was an insane statement. I mean, I get saying things in the heat of the moment, especially because that's, when you feel the emotion, but to really say that she's worse than Alexis and Tamra, that was crazy. Speaking of Tamra, though, she is coming to the party with Jo de la Rosa, an original housewife. I think she was in the first season. I'm not sure if any of the OG viewers, if y'all know, was Jo in the first season or was she in the second season. I'm not sure, but what I do know is that she was in the very, very early seasons. Who dated Slade back in the day. So I guess this is Tamra's way of intimidating Gretchen. I'm sure she probably doesn't even care, but I say Gretchen or Jenn, y'all might as well go ahead and film with Simon, film with Sydney at this point, because you're gonna have to fight fire with fire when it comes to Tamra Judge. Okay, so as Tamra and Jo are walking in, Katie and Matt are walking out. They're leaving. So Tamra says, Katie, are you leaving? Matt says to Katie, don't talk to her. But Tamra does approach them, and Katie says, I don't want to talk about it. Tamra says, I just want to make sure that you're okay. So that's where Matt steps in. He's like, oh, come on, Tamra. Please. You started this. Are you really going to come over and pretend like you care? Tamra says, is it my fault that you recorded Shannon? Katie says, you brought it up at my lunch when I was trying to move forward, and you knew that I was trying to move forward. Tamra says, it's not my fault that you got caught up with something. I've been nothing but nice to you. Katie says, you literally called me a C-U-N-T. I've never called you a C-U-N-T. I've never called you a bitch, but you have talked about me. Tamra's like, yeah, you don't call me anything, but what you do is call bloggers about me. So that's where Katie's like, okay, goodbye. Let me tell you, I was so happy that Matt and Katie checked Tamra with her fake behind trying to come here like she cares, because I will never forget this, and I feel like a lot of people have sort of forgotten this, that Tamra was the one who really brought back what Kylie innocently said about when it was Kylie, Katie, Tamra, and Tamra's daughter Sophia. They went out to do some candles, having a good time. Kylie innocently, kind of jokingly, talks about when she babysat Emily's kid, but it was Tamra, when they were in London last season, she was the one who brought it into the group with malice, and that got the ball rolling on the Katie hate train with this group. But anyway, so Jo and Tamra go inside. Tamra tells everyone, I just got attacked by Katie and Matt. Terry is somewhere over there trying to get into everybody's business like always. He tells Gretchen and Jenn essentially that they need to be more sensitive because Tamara is going through a very hard time, which he obviously is referring to Teddy having her health issues and her really tough time. I don't want to take away from that because it is really, really bad. But Jenn says Tamara is the one who comes at people when they are at their lowest. We are going to be sensitive to her situation, obviously, because we are human beings, but that doesn't mean she gets to be off the hook. And of course, Heather goes on this monologue about how Tamra has changed and all this BS. Heather Dubrow, enough with this, okay? You acting like the White House press secretary, trying to speak for Tamra, trying to advocate for Tamra. Stop it. Nobody believes you. So Gretchen and Slade actually go say hi to Joe. That was a smart move on their part, kind of getting the control. Jenn briefly goes up to Tamra and says they should meet and talk. Then everyone comes together. Heather grabs the mic and she says thank you for coming. And then after that, it's nothing but dancing and having a good time. So I'm glad at least they were able to end the night on a fun note. So that was pretty much it. Now it's the next day. We see Gina and Travis. They have opened or created their own group for real estate, which is good. I'm happy for them. They're at a house that she's fixing. I don't necessarily dislike Gina, but when I think about the fact that she's been on this show for 7 seasons, that is insane. 7 seasons? Anyway, she hosts a open house, so some people go. It's aimed for people 55 years or older. I didn't know that there were houses that were like catered to a particular age. But anyway, Tamara stops by. Gina tells her a little bit about her group and how they've brought 2 agents onto their group, which is good. Tamara then tells her how Jenn came up to her at the party and told her that they should talk. And I really cannot believe that Tamara is coming into this season trying to gaslight all of us, the audience, as if she is the victim now, because Ryan and Jenn have been coming at her and throwing shade. Yeah, they have been coming for you, Tamara, after you came for them first for 2 seasons. So for her to act now like she's the victim is something unbelievable. You're the one that made all these accusations and insinuations against them. So then we see Ryan and Jenn. They go to the dentist because Jenn wants veneers right before the wedding. Honestly, I'm not sure why she got veneers because her teeth look pretty good. But hey, if she wants them, that's good. So then they talk about the party. Ryan talks about Tamara's thirsty entrance. It really was a thirsty entrance, and I'm sure she wanted like chaos, which I'm glad it didn't happen. But anyway, Jenn says to him, well, I'm actually going to meet her. And Ryan's like, why? What's the point of that? Jenn says, well, people are saying that she's going through a hard time and, she's going through therapy. Ryan says, listen, okay, but I think you're going to leave out of that meeting really disappointed. Now, here's the thing, though. Jenn says that she met with Gina and Gretchen the other day, and Gina told Jenn that Tamra is going around telling anyone that Jenn wants to be her and that Jenn is obsessed with her. So Jenn is going to this lunch. Sure, she'll show empathy, but she's also going to set the record straight. Moving along to Heather Dubrow. So we see a scene with her and 2 real estate agents, Josh Altman and Josh Flagg, who were both on $1 Million Listing. I never watched that show, but apparently they had sort of like a bit of a falling out, kind of. But Heather has brought them together. So they are in the Beverly Hills property. I'm not sure why, but Heather and Terry are going to sell the house when they're finished remodeling it. They are spending so much money, though, that at this point, she's just hoping to break even. They might not even have a profit. She says that the home is not viable for the family anymore. The house is really big. Obviously, it's a really expensive area, but I actually don't like it. I don't like it. It feels very old. I'm not sure what that is about, but it just feels like an old house. But nothing will ever, to this day, no housewife house compares to the mansion that Heather had back in the OC, the one that they sold for $55 million. But I'm sure they'll get something better when they're all done with this. So then we go over to Tamara's house. She's with her daughter, Sophia, who is currently in community college and wants to transfer to the Music Institute in LA. So that's good. She has a plan. She also sells clothes online, and she's kind of helping Tamara with that as well. Tamara talks to her about they should schedule a tour for the Music Institute, and Sophia says that she has no plans on moving out. With the price of living right now, it's ridiculous. Why would she move out and pay $30 for a dozen of eggs? Tamara says, but you're 19 years old. Like, it's time. Like, you need to spread your wings, blah, blah, blah. That is crazy, but I think that's a really American mentality, because it's not the first time I've heard of this. Like, kids will turn 18 and like their parents are like, oh, it's time to move, and that's like an expectation. I think it's different because for a lot of us in the from immigrant communities, some of us, not all obviously, but most of us, we don't move out until we get married, and I like that. Tamra then talks to her about the therapy that she's going through, which I think is a bunch of hocus pocus. I will say, though, the daughter seemed much more comfortable filming than she did last year. Moving on, Emily, Gretchen, and Shannon go to one of those places that have those like hammocks where they get in certain positions and then they're sort of like hanging and swinging from them. Meanwhile, Katie, Gina, and Heather meet up at a nice coffee shop. So Gina asks Katie what happened after you left, because Tamara told us that Matt yelled at her. Katie says he yelled at her? No, he did not. He told her, like, come on, Tamara. To which Heather then says, tell Matt not to get involved. Heather, you don't get involved, okay? And your husband is always in it too. Like, especially back in, like, a few, not like the previous seasons, but I remember like season 7 or something like that. He was very much in the drama, so come on now. Heather then asks Katie, did you meet with Kiki Monique? Katie says, yeah, I had an event and then I had lunch with her. She's really funny. Heather says, I heard that you asked Kiki to put out stories about us to hurt us. Katie says, I did not. Who told you this? Heather says, Tamra. Katie says, prove it. Never did I do that. Heather says, a lot of us are thinking, like, what's next when it comes to you? Katie says, I own up to what I've done, but this I definitely did not do. All right, so I'm going back to the other 3 girls. Emily tells Gretchen to forgive Tamra because, again, they keep spreading this propaganda that she's changed. Shannon then says that she's done with Katie. So then Gretchen says, I really like Katie, but after I left the party, I went to bed and I thought that I can't really defend her. Okay, Gretchen, settle down. You're a friend of, okay? Like, calm down. Shannon then says, trust and believe that if she's recorded me, she's probably recorded all of y'all as well. We then see a bunch of like beef footage of the women in their homes with their kids, with their dogs. And then we see Katie is doing laundry and she's filming Matt on her lunch with Gina and Heather. She actually thought when it came to Gina and Heather, they were nice to her, but what really blew her mind was what Tamara is saying about her. And Matt says to her, it is crazy that Tamara Judge is in this friend group, but you're the most untrustworthy. I was like, exactly, Matt, come on now. He says, in this house, you're perfect. I was like, oh, that's so sweet. I'm glad he has her back. They also talk about their daughter Kylie moving out, which is crazy because for the first time, all 4 of Katie's kids are going to be all living under the same roof, because those 2 sons that weren't living with her are now going to be living here in OC with her. But it's a bit sad because it's almost like, oh wow, now that everyone's coming together, now Kylie is moving out, so it's kind of like bittersweet. And also you got to remember, Katie had Kylie at a very young age, so they've always been very close, so it's gonna be tough on her when she leaves for college. Okay, so to end the episode, it's the Jenn and Tamra meetup. Tamra came into this with like a I don't even want to be here attitude, but she's here. So when Jenn comes in, Tamra says, I have that belt. What do you want to talk about? So Jen's like, well, first of all, hi. Like, hello. But I wanted to meet. I have heard from some of the other ladies who have said that you're going through a very hard time with Teddy. And I know that's very heavy, but I really do want to ask you a lot of questions. And I want the honest truth. Where did it all go south with us? Tamara says, well, it happened when we were having that dinner at Katie's house. And Ryan called Eddie a little bitch, so he's not all that innocent. Jenn says, yeah, and then you go around talking about the FBI, saying that my home with my kids was raided. So Tamara says, you can say whatever you want, but if anyone says anything about you, then they're the bad ones. You were the one that said Eddie didn't have a job or money. Jenn says, okay, well, let's try this another way so that maybe it can go better for you. So then Tamara snaps at her and she's like, don't be condescending. I don't know who the F you think you are, but you're not. Jenn says, I'm not what? Tamara says, this grade higher person like you told Heather Dubrow. You're the one that got evicted. You're the one that got caught cheating. So Jenn says, and you never cheated, Tamara? I know about your stories. Tamara says, I had already left Simon when I got with Eddie. Jenn says, the same thing with me. Then Tamara sort of hinted that Jenn had cheated on her ex prior to meeting with Ryan with like another guy, when Jenn was like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you saying? Of course, Tamara doesn't elaborate here in the scene, but she sure does open her mouth in the confessional about it. But anyway, Jenn says to her, I don't even know who you are. You're going around saying that I'm obsessed with you? Tamara says, well, yeah, you're the one that went to go put my old hair extensions in your hair. Jenn says, you want people to seem so beneath you. So what happened was that Jenn was at a salon, I guess, and they told her, oh, Tamara just wore these extensions and they're practically new. And by the way, Jenn called Tamara to tell her. So it's like, oh, like, you know, funny coincidence. They told me these were yours and I put them. So it's not like she was being sneaky and like, you know, the way Tamara makes it sound is like, oh, let me blow up. I'm going to put her old hair. Like, no, okay, Tamara wants to twist it and make it seem weird. It really wasn't. But Tamara says, you also used my doctor. You also went to my gym. And Jen's like, your gym was a mile away from my yoga studio. I didn't go in there looking for you. Tamara says, yes, you did. So Jenn says, you are so sick. You're so special. How's your therapy? I didn't go to your gym. I didn't want to be there for you. You are sick. And I'll say it again. And then Tamara says, I'm not putting up with this. It's not cool. So she gets up and leaves because she claims to be a new person. No, you're not a new person. You ran out because she was putting your ass on notice and checking you. And that was the end of the episode. Listen, you guys, really good episode. I think seeing Jenn really, you know, we saw her find her voice last season, and seeing her defend her name, defend her honor, and not backing down against Tamara is what I like to see. So this was a great episode. What were your thoughts about it? Please let me know. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch y'all next time. Y'all have a great one. Bye.